it's Rock Klein, and you're watching another Supernatural review, and this is season 4, episode 18, The Monster at the End of the Book. If you're new here, I do like a recap and review of every single episode of Supernatural, so let's get into it. I knew this one was coming up. I kind of remembered it, and it's something where it's like, I remember this episode, but I don't remember really what happens. And it's something where it's like, I also don't remember if it's good or not. I kind of was I remember it's good, but I don't know if it's gonna be cliche or if most of it's gonna be bad. I just didn't really know. I went into it not knowing what I was gonna expect, and I was pleasantly surprised and glad. I mean, it starts right away where they're Sam and Dean, they're you're LARPing, and it's this book series, Supernatural, and it's their lives. And it's something, it's just the last episode too. These are ideas writers have had for a while, and they wanted to make it happen, and this is how they were able to make it happen. And I've been very critical thus far of how they've incorporated angels and everything, and I think they really struggled with it, but I think they actually did a good job in here. They had this idea. They have to do more things with angels, because I think someone up there is telling them to do something with angels, not the angels, but some executive, and they were able to do it in this episode. I mean, this episode also, if you know what French Mistake is, it kind of has the same idea of French Mistake in a way of what it is. But so we're introduced to Chuck, who becomes something in Supernatural. And I don't, it's so hard to talk about him in this episode without giving the big spoiler that he is God. He even says a line oh, I must be a god, which is funny in this episode. But I really don't think when they wrote this episode did they actually have him wanting to be God one day. I really don't. It's something that I think, he comes up again, and it was a lot of speculation in the Supernatural fandom, I guess. And it's something that the writers, usually they don't listen to the fandom, but they actually, I think, listen to the fandom and make him God. But yeah, I don't think they were going into this having it be God. Really, I kind of think with Sam and Dean things oh, he's a psychic, but in the end, they said he was a prophet of God, and so I think they were trying to bring in something else, he can see the future, and especially with Sam and Dean, and so that's kind of this huge thing and huge element, and I think they downplay it a little bit, they kind of do in Zachariah at the end. Is it at the end? I don't even remember when, but he upplays it, it's, I don't know. It kind of gets into that whole thing where it's this is what happens in the book, so let's try to do the opposite, and then that happened. I mean, I think I think I've said this in the past, sometimes with these things, it's so easy to go wrong, but I think they actually did a good job. I think, at the end of the day, maybe they could have even done a better job, but I think they did a good job for what they were doing, and it's very difficult what they were doing, and could have gone the wrong way, and the Sam Dean whole fighting thing felt realistic and real, and all those elements with it. I mean, it did feel a little bit on the nose with the whole thing with the Archangel on his shoulder, so bringing Chuck in is kind of crazy. And this is the first mention of archangels who do become a thing in Supernatural. But the way Cass is describing them, that's not really them. But again, angels become whatever. So it's they're making a big deal about it. They're trying to make it dramatic. But something else I wanted to talk about is this episode, I really struggle with serialization versus episodic. It's has episodic qualities, but it's so serialized this episode, and I have to have it lean towards more the serialized side, but it has a good combination. So it is an episode that's hard to if you're showing someone Supernatural for first time, you won't show this episode. But if you're watching Supernatural with someone, and you're, only picking a few episodes, I'd say this is a good episode to pick, because at the end of the day, it is a good episode. There are some issues with it, things I said on the nose. I mean, I've kind of been critical this far about, how they bring in Cass and how they use Cass, and they still kind of use Cass in the same way in this episode, but I feel it made sense and worked in that way, and I think it's just because this episode worked more than, the other Angel episodes we've had. And yeah, and it's still, the episode still had a lot of elements of humor, which is kind of with Supernatural, but again, it's not your everyday hunt, and it does kind of break the fourth wall with the whole supernatural elements, but that's what Supernatural does best, is break the fourth wall, and that's a part of who they are. That, you know, it's at this point, it's like it seems a little bit odd or seems a little bit off, but it's something that becomes even bigger in Supernatural, so it works with Supernatural. So yeah, it was a good episode, but it like, it's not a perfect episode, and it, as I said, it's like so easily could go bad. And sometimes I think some people, well, not sometimes I think, but you know, some people might disagree with me and they could see this as a bad episode, or maybe it's just like me right now. I'm like, oh, this is a good episode, but you know, if I'm gonna rewatch Supernatural again one day, which probably will, I might not think that same thing about this episode, or just kind of how you look at it and view it, and that's just kind of the thing with Supernatural. So anyway, I'm gonna end it here, but you know, comment your thoughts below about the monster in the book, and sorry if I spoil it for people who are watching Supernatural for the first time, but it's so hard to like not do. I can't like not so anyway, but thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and bye.